Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Out of the Park 23 with the Minnesota Twins. The one thing that you'll notice right away is the infamous spring training disaster. Carlos Correa. This was like very close to the end, too. I mean, this was 9 days ago. Tore his groin, out for 2 to 3 months. And really, that's the person who is probably the most irreplaceable because it forces me to play Royce at shortstop. The original plan I had was to have a lot of Royce as my backup and having him kind of play as a super utility 4 to 5 times a week. As my second base backup, shortstop backup, center field backup against lefties. We are going to get him a lot of playing time, but now he has to start every day at shortstop, and I don't have a great backup for him. Right now, it's looking like it's probably Polanco. Um, there's not really a great shortstop here. There's Austin Martin I can call up as a potential option to be my backup shortstop. Um, there wasn't really much out there. I tried to make some trades for some AAA guys, and I couldn't find anybody I liked. So that's what we're going to roll with to start the year. Um, as far as the rest of the lineup, it's kind of what you would expect. Hunt, Miranda, Polanco, Urshela, Lewis, Kirilloff, Buxton, Kepler, and I'm giving Arise one more shot. He's hitting 350 in real life. I want it to work out, but if he struggles again this year, then there's a real chance that he gets moved by the deadline. I've got lefty bats. And I've also got Hudson Potts, who I would like to potentially find more regular playing time. He is going to be my DH against lefties. He's my backup at first base and third base. But he got a big bump in prospect ranking, where I believe he was 79 at the end of last year, got bumped up to 18. So OSA is fairly high on him. I mean, he hit pretty well last year in AAA. He's good enough defensively at first and third. But yeah, so I mean, this is a guy that I'm really excited to see what he does this year, and is potentially going to be my Urshela replacement because I just don't see myself offering him this contract. I don't think that this bat is good enough to be paying him through age 37, and the glove is good but not elite. The zone rating last year of negative 2.9. Just these ratings aren't great, so that makes me a little more skeptical of handing out the contract. Whereas, like, I gave out the big contract to Correa that we talked about last time, paying $40 million this year. But this is like a gold glove caliber shortstop, where even if the bat declines, like it probably will by the time that this contract is up. 8 years, he'll be 35 this year. Like, the odds of this being a productive offensive year, both of these $35 million years, just aren't great. But if he continues to provide gold glove caliber shortstop and is like, even like something like this, a year like this, I would be okay with, because this is still a 2.5 WAR season out over the 160 games. So yeah, that's the lineup. The kind of some people available is we do have Bo Naylor, who dropped pretty dramatically in prospect rankings after I grabbed him. My scout is much lower on him, the 60 rating all the way down to 50. Contact is down. We'll see. We're gonna give him some run, pretty much exclusively against righties. I'd have him just as if starter tired, and Hunt probably shouldn't be sitting very often against lefties. Otherwise, we held on to Ryan Jeffers. He's in AAA because he struggled during spring training quite a bit. Hunt was better than him last year. Try to just kind of give him a little confidence booster to start the year in AAA. If he mashes down there, then we'll call him back up. And probably at that point, that means more than likely Bo Naylor would be returned to the Guardians. Jonathan Aranda was a part of the Tampa Bay trade where he can kind of play first, second, and third as a lefty bat. Can't really play shortstop, unfortunately, but like he could kind of hop in at second if I move Polanco over, and Arise is DHing to be a left-handed bat, another left-handed bat in the lineup. So yeah, he was just, I think, the best middle infielder I have available, unfortunately. Like none of these guys are, none of the second baseman shortstops here are major league level. So it really was just him to call up to be kind of another option there, because I like the three guys that I have for the corners. So just kind of trying to find ways to work around the Correa injury for 2 months. And if something happens to Royce, then we're going to have to make a trade at that point and give up more than I would probably like to. So please stay healthy, Royce. That's going to be a pretty big deal. As far as the pitching staff goes, this might look a little more interesting to people. Starting rotation is what you would expect. We went out and signed Aaron Nola to be our ace. Sonny Gray is back. Maeda's back. Traded for Lamet. And Paddock is back. And I think that this is a very, very good starting rotation. I'm really excited for it. Contract-wise, this is the last year we'll have a lot of these guys, I think. Gray, I have a hard time seeing us wanting to bring him back, especially at this contract. No, that's not going to happen. Maeda, what does he want? Probably not. And if he pitches well this year, then that number is just going to go up. And then Lamet, he's not interested in playing for Baldelli. That's right. So, yeah. Like, all three of those guys are gone. And even Paddock, I could see not wanting to bring back next year, because we have a lot of AAA arms. And you will notice that no Joe Ryan, no Josh Winder. Instead, it's Yandris Gomez is kind of our sixth starter, number 85 prospect in baseball. Was just by far the best pitcher in spring training out of kind of the guys that I was testing out as starters. Where in the last video, you would have seen the starting rotation, which was Winder, Ryan, Balazovic, Wisniewski, and Winder, and Gomez. And Gomez was just the best out of them. So that, to me, says that he should be my kind of starting guy up here as a long relief person, and the rest of them will just kind of keep an eye on how they do at AAA. And they're all kind of potential relief options as well. So we've got Rozek as our kind of more middle lefty and also an opener for Lamet. The 35 stamina does concern me quite a bit. But I think with having Rozek as an opener, that should help limit that, where if kind of those two guys can give me 7 innings, then we can get to the bullpen and be in pretty good shape at that point. Alcala does make the team. He was very good there. We traded away Cotton. We talked about that before. I have my concerns with him. But yeah, so really the most disappointing thing from spring training was, the 9.6 ERA from Joe Ryan. Winder was just as bad. And this 9.22 is even after 4 innings, 1 run, 3 innings, 1 run. A lot of this is getting blown up by Kansas City, but just none of these starts are great. So yeah, Wisniewski was also pretty good. So he's actually probably my next man up. Balazovic wasn't super great either. So yeah, that's sort of where we're at with pitching staff. Cano, even with how good he was last year, was not good for me in spring training. So that's why Alcala is up over him. Trinan wasn't great in spring training either, which is definitely concerning for me with this $2.3 million salary. We'll see. This still says he should be good, but really the biggest story, I think, for the team moving from the beginning of spring training to now is a lot of decline in quality of players. Really, there was a lot more green both in my starting rotation, my lineups, but especially in the prospects that we'll get into in a little bit. Cody Whitley was really, really good for me, so that's why he's sitting in this setup role to start the year. Stashak was also very good, which is good to see where if we can start getting more of this type of result. But even then, he has one more option year. Arbitration, we'll see. Like, he probably needs to have an elite year for me to bring him back. Same with Alcala. Um, Even though Alcala does have 2 option years, he's gonna start costing a little bit more money, and it's gonna be hard to see them coming back. So really, this is a year where there's a lot of guys who are probably at the end of the road for me. So I'd really like to see us have another good year, another deep run into the playoffs before we turn over a pretty decent amount of the team going into next year, most likely. So if we kind of look at some of those guys, we see again the trend of there was a lot more green. I want to look at hitters first. There was a lot more green down here before kind of a lot of that scouting stuff at the beginning of March happened. As far as some of the interesting names, this was a guy from my scout discovered last year, who was a first baseman who just got promoted out of the international complex. Where I went and I took a look in there because I noticed that with how I had my news set up, I was not getting the scouting development stuff. Okay, there we go. Which kind of made me go back to some of this broader stuff. I had it as just my team stuff because I wasn't interested in a lot of this, but we kind of opened that back up. But yeah, so we have him promoted out now. Jose Estrada was 2 days ago was another find with low work ethic, so that kind of lowers my expectations of him by a lot. I mean, he's 16. Maybe something happens here. I'm not super excited, but yeah, I mean, there was a lot of these guys were green potentials that have now dropped out of it, which is unfortunate. Andrade dropped down, Kierstad dropped down. Collier's still a guy that I'm excited about. Encarnacion dropped down. And really, like, there's kind of 2 tiers of prospects that I've noticed that I have. I've got a lot of guys at A ball, A plus ball, and a lot of guys at AAA, which means that we really need a lot of these guys to do well this year to potentially end the year closer to AAA, of either in AAA itself or be playing well in AA at the end of the year for us to kind of feel like we're really in a good spot. Pitching wise, I have a lot of starting pitching depth, which is good. Blazovic and Woods Richardson are kind of the guys that are on this list. And then there's the other people that we saw that are kind of not really prospects anymore, but are kind of almost quad A arms for me at this point. Woods Richardson, the potential's gone down a little bit. This 35 control is concerning. They did only, I guess this is 1 start, right? The walks are a concern for sure. But I mean, he was really good ERA wise. The FIP not so much in AA last year, but hopefully there's something there. Colby White, obviously we'll kind of have to wait and see on the UCL injury. I did leave Cantorino in here, just because I want to see how much I'm going to regret doing that. Because I saw the 1.0 ERA as a reliever for them in spring training. And I do still think that he's a reliever. He's not a starter, but they're going to try him as a starter in AAA and then find out the same thing I did, I think. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the biggest concerns I have. This was one of the pieces I was really excited for in the Tampa Bay trade. It was the 55 potential, and then just all of this stuff just goes down here, especially the stuff losing 10 points is concerning. Makes me think that maybe this guy's unfortunately going to turn into a reliever, but he had a really good year in rookie ball last year, and hopefully Hopefully he does end up being somebody, because this was a piece I was excited about. Osmond also dropped quite a bit, from a 60 to a 40. The control that was at 40 and already slightly concerning now is up to a 30 potential control. And he did walk 7 per 9 last year. So that's really concerning as a college arm. Or like, this is a guy I was hoping would be in AAA at the end of the year. Bajar's potential dropped a little bit. There's less concerns here, I think. Like, this is probably still a guy that will get some run for me in the majors at some point, but there's less higher end upside, I think, here. Gibson, Long, and Varland were both 45s that have dropped to 40s. Just a lot of people have declined in potential. Huisman, I think, is probably the best starting pitcher or potential arm I have right now, at least in the lower minors. So hopefully he can stay as a starter for me. This FIP is very concerning, probably because of the 6 walks per 9. Side armor is a starter that doesn't usually end super well. But yeah, so this is where the team currently is going into opening day. Let's take a look. I have not actually looked at this yet, so we will see. Oh wow, the Royals are projected to win 100 games. The Centrals looks nuts. We have the top 3 projected records. I mean, okay. Definitely some weird stuff in here. Do we have any hitters or pitchers? We do not. Bobby Witt, Kalenic. Orkelson, what did he do last year? League average. But I mean, these ratings look absurd. Where if he actually plays up to them more, he could be a really, really good player. Nothing super weird here either. Yeah, the White Sox with 3 starters projected in there. Man, what is going on here in Kansas City? Projected to win 100 games. Yeah, they traded for Jesse Winker. Nick Prado. Hit really well for them last year. Is this like a real prospect of theirs? Oh, he went 5 for 6 against us. Yeah, this looks like he's just an actual guy for them. Add Ratliff. Oh, wow. Okay. Jumped from AA. I bet this was a TCR guy. Yep, this is a TCR guy. That's fun. Starts 25-30 reliever, and then just zhink up to being a stud. Nikolaka's whatever. Lubick, Rice, Angel Zerpa. So no Brady Singer. Did they trade away Brady Singer? What is going on here? No, he's just in AAA after making 34 starts. Average arbitration was fine in spring training. That's weird. Yeah, this looks like it's an offense-led team. Merrifield coming off of a good year. And Michael A. Taylor's the only question mark offensively, but he's a Gold Glove center fielder. You don't really care about that. Lopez, Mondesi, Winker. Yeah, I mean, this is a really scary lineup for sure. Bullpen looks like it's still got a lot of good pieces left. Amir Garrett's still there. Frost is a guy who's been really good in real life. I mean, this is a team, I think if you get to the bullpen and you don't get Dylan Coleman, that you can get to. But I mean, this team's going to score a lot of runs for sure. So that is interesting. And how do we look in the National League? The reigning World Series champion Philadelphia Phillies projected to go 500. Yeah, that tracks. Reds looking like they could be actually turning into something here. Some good pitching staff. New York Mets projected to give up 615 runs. We have here Alex Wood, Carlos Carrasco, Nick Martinez, Minor. This is what it looks. Whatever. Trevor May's good. Benges. This does not look like a staff that's projected to give up. Oh, the Grom is out. How recent was this? Oh, this is like last year. Oh, right. Scherzer, an oblique strain as well. Okay. I mean, I guess that makes more sense, but like, I don't see this as like a super elite starting rotation. Entire Sixto Sanchez. I got a rookie card, baseball card of him earlier this week, so that's fun. Better, those are Hernandez. Jesus Luzardo pitching out of the bullpen now, I guess. That's interesting. Guess he was bad as a starter for them last year. But yeah, so this is our setup going into the year. Not sure how much I will play before we get to another video, but it'll be before the trade deadline for sure. Yeah, so this is the team moving forward. Hopefully we don't have any more drastic injuries like Correa. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.